In every story of faith, there's a moment when life feels beyond repair, when the weight of years, pain, and loss becomes too much to carry. For Scott, that moment came about 6 months ago. A heart attack changed everything. His body weakened. His spirit, already fragile, seemed to give way. The strength to fight simply disappeared. Soon after, a letter arrived from the county treasurer. It wasn't just a notice of unpaid taxes. It was a final warning. Their home, the place that held every memory of his family, was about to be lost. But, truthfully, Scott had already been losing that home for years. 10 years earlier, his wife, the love of his life, passed away in that house. Since then, Scott hadn't changed a thing in her room. Not one picture, not one folded blanket. Grief had frozen time, and for a decade, he simply existed inside its walls, a prisoner of memory, standing still while life kept moving. Jonah, his son, was only 12 when she died. Now a young man, Jonah had grown up with the residue of pain and grief always tainting his confidence. He didn't have a job, a driver's license, nor any plan for the future. Social anxiety made the world outside feel impossible. So he stayed where it was safe, where his mother's memory lingered, in the home he was about to lose. But as their world began to crumble with bills unpaid, faith uncertain, and a home slipping away, something unexpected began to happen. Their church invited them to join 21 days of prayer. At first, it was just a commitment, a routine. But what started as a church practice soon became a turning point, a move of the Lord working quietly in their lives. This is the story of Jonah and Scott, a father and son, each carrying years of pain, stepping together into a season of prayer. Over 21 days, we watched faith awaken where loss had settled. We saw hearts softened, hope rekindled, and two lives slowly drawn back toward the God who still heals, still restores, and still writes new stories even after years of silence. This is more than a documentary about change. It's a journey of grace, prayer, and renewal. A witness to what happens when the Lord begins to make all things new.
So today is day 3 of 21 days with Jonah. And yesterday we talked a little bit about how you dropped out of school, never went back. I was just wondering what your dad thought about that.
I mean, it was kind of a weird process because, I ended up, as I'm pretty sure I said, I just ended up taking online classes at home, and I didn't have my priorities straight, so I ended up getting lazy, not wanting to do it, and if I didn't want to do something, it was hard to force myself to. Really hard to force myself to do anything I don't want to do. Even these days, it's still kind of hard, but I'm able to push through it more. So I ended up just kind of softly dropping out. Didn't have no intention to. I really wanted to keep doing it. So, I'm sure my dad realized that was happening, and I know he's not happy about it. He dropped out too. The only person in my family, in my close family that I know of and graduated is my mom. And obviously I wanted to graduate for her, and so I have intentions on going back and finishing, especially because I made a promise to her where she passed away about 10 years ago that I would.
Does your dad ever say anything to you about going back to school or getting a job or anything like that?
Yeah, we talk about how, I want to get a job a lot because, professional wrestling doesn't pay great, and I just do that on weekends. And he's really proud of me because, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler. I've always wanted to chase that dream. I'm so passionate about what I do on another level. I could talk about it forever. But I want to be able to provide for my family and my circle. Whenever people are providing for me, I always there's a sense of I don't know, insecurity or that I should be doing that for them. I don't want to provider, and so it kind of hurts. But I try to remember that, how is it any different from them, from how is them trying to help me out of the kindness of their heart any different from when I want to do that for people?
Yeah.
So I try not to deny it too much anymore, because I know it kind of bums people out, as it wouldn't be. But it's just one of those things. So I definitely, he when we argue, we don't have the best relationship. So, and we argue a lot. It sucks. There's a lot of bad residual energy and evil in the house that consumes him, and it consumes me too. So we say stuff we don't mean. He'll say stuff he don't mean, and about getting a job is one of them. But I'm really struggling right now internally, and there's no excuse. It really ain't.
Well, what do you mean you're struggling internally right now?
It's hard to do anything yet. I mean, you hear people say this all the time, but it's crippling. From what doesn't show on the surface, internally, it's like below surface level. It's like I'm crumbling. It's hard to get out of bed. I have 2 dogs and 5 puppies, so I have responsibilities to get up in the morning, and to take care of them. But like, that's even hard sometimes, so I want to really try to push through it, but there's times where I just can't. It just feels like I can't. But I try to remember that I could do anything, just as much as the next person. But it's crippling. I got really bad social anxiety in general. Anxiety attacks lead to panic attacks for me, but it doesn't happen too frequently anymore. But it still can be debilitating. So being around and people, it can be draining. Just functioning day to day is draining enough, but it's not one of those things where I really have to get the experience of working through it enough to where I can deal with it more and more and more. I'm at the starting line, and so I haven't even started on that journey yet. So that's what it's always more difficult to start than it is to keep going.
So what are you on the starting line to do? What is it that you want to do?
Get my life together.
What does that mean? What would it look like for you? Like tomorrow, what would it look like for you to have your life together tomorrow? What would you do just for some small little step?
Work, provide for my family, know that I'm doing what I should be doing, and not sitting around moping and feeling, and just working on Saturdays, chasing my dream is not going to be enough for me to think I'm doing enough. You know what I mean? And I got passion with music too that I'm not pursuing like I want to be, because everything else is impacting me to the point where I'm not doing what I really want to be doing in life, what I know I am called to do in life.
Well, so what about driving? Do you have a driver's license? Have you ever had a driver's license?
No permit, nothing, man. See, it's rocky with me and my dad. I hate to say this, I love him more than than anybody in the entire world, and I would do anything for him. He taught me, if anything, he taught me how to be loyal and to love unconditionally. What he did for my mom after she got in a car accident in 2012, she was bedridden. She took care of her going to the bathroom, eating, got up every time in the middle of the night when she needed him. I give him that credit, but when it comes to becoming a man and adulting, he wasn't there for me, whether it be coping with my mom's death, or, not really knowing how to be a single father. It's a lot of baggage. A lot of it I resent him for, but, a lot of it I don't blame him for, because, we all are struggling in our own ways. I just wish we were able to struggle together more instead of butt heads.
So me and you are together right now. This is day 3 of our 21 days. And what we're doing is we're going to church every night and praying. And there's several other people that are there with us praying. So tell me about your impressions so far, and is God saying anything to you through this time? Because I remember actually one thing you told me was when we first prayed, we said, we asked God, why are we here? Tell me that story about how you heard the Lord speak to you about that.
Well, we got these pamphlets, and funnily enough, mine is already torn up the first day I got it because my puppies was funny. I think he was a character. It's whatever. But while you were talking to the group, I was way in the back. Like I thought I should read this and write down, like why I'm attending 21 days of prayer and what I want to pray for and what I want to change about my life, right? And I wrote down, what I thought I needed to write down. And there's a moment where I was like, I don't know, is this actually like enough? Does this like, so does this capture what I am talking about when I say like what I want to change, right? Is this enough of the explanation? And it's like, I always struggle with like overanalyzing stuff, right? So I was in my head about that. And so when you prayed and was like, pray to God why you are here, pray to God like why he has brought you here, what he wants you to change. And I was really doing that, and it's bold letters, clear as day. All I was getting was, you already know. And every time I get a clear answer from him, it seemingly I hyperanalyze. I'm like, there's no way God can be talking to me this clear. Like, there's got to be something deeper, something more. Am I tripping out? Like, is this just my mind playing with me? Is this just me? You know what I mean? And if I take this as literally, am I in my head, like being arrogant, like I know what he's trying to tell me? You know what I mean? I get insecure.
Well, you said though you ended up figuring it out. So why are you there?
So
why are you there to pray?
Then I looked down at my paper, right, and I was like, let me read this again. I said, cleanse my body and soul through God. Find a clear path to God's purpose for me and my hopes, dreams, and goals, and to heal. Bold letters, to heal. It's backwards for the camera, but because that, and I realized in that moment, I don't need a drawn out explanation for everything. If I know what I mean, God knows what I mean. Hopes to cleanse, my body, my relationship, my house, physically, spiritually, mentally, to heal my body, my mind, spiritually, it's just, I
to heal.
Something there, I had nothing to worry about. Good.
So we're heading off to our third day of prayer, and we will get back to who's ever watching this tomorrow for day 4 of 21 days of prayer with Jonah.